There is a bug. It's nighttime, so spending time outside. I have tried to log on. I have tried to log on YouTube live for the past 3 days, and today is the first day that it's allowing me or letting me to do so. These bugs are big. Um, but to the glory of God, we're gonna get this done today. All right. So I titled this "Restoring Relationships Responsibly." Are we tired of exploring, of experimenting when it comes to relationships? And I'm not talking about physical, I'm not talking about familial relationship. I'm speaking about um, dating, marital. That's what I'm discussing tonight. For anyone who's awake, jump on. Or when you get a chance to jump on later on, that's fine too. But in the meantime, let me start with a tune to wake us up. To worship you, to worship you, I live to worship you. To worship you, I live. To worship you, I live to worship you. Oh, oh, oh. You're highly welcome. To worship you, I live. To worship you, I live to worship you. Oh, you're welcome. Oh, mm, oh, you are highly welcome, Prince Deborah. Deborah. Good morning to you. Good afternoon. Where I am, it's nighttime, so it's still nighttime over here. Um, but today's topic, I want to come alive and talk about restoring relationship responsibly, because in the world that we live in today, a lot of people are experimenting when it comes to relationships, and so we're going to talk about how to cultivate, how to build a healthy lifestyle, a healthy mindset that then translates and helps you build and set the healthy boundaries that leads to a healthier relationship and a healthier you. So I invite you right now, if you would like to ask the questions that you have about relationships. If you have had cycles, sometimes we get into cycles that repeat themselves because of some of the things that we still hold on to ourselves. So I'm going to start a series today about changing the lifestyle to change the, the outcome, changing your mindset, helping yourself to begin building a healthy boundary that translates to healthy relationships and maintaining that healthy relationship. So this is relationship 101 basically. We know that premarital counseling is a bit too late sometimes. You go to premarital counseling after you've made the choice of who you want to get married to. Um, and so this is more, what we'll be talking more about dating relationship, not familial relationships, dating relationships. I hope you can hear me okay. This is a night where we're unwinding. If you're joining me here, we're unwinding, relaxing, and also discussing. So I will try not to lay it too heavily on you today. I will not lay too heavily tonight. It's more going to be an introduction of the session, and I invite anyone that joins to ask me any question. If I see your question, I will write it down and dissect it where I can answer it more appropriately the next day. My goal is that the next few days I'll be discussing different topics as it relates to excuse me, as it relates to relationships and building that intimate, healthy, wholesome relationship, because everyone was created for love. But it depends on the mindset, it depends on you, and the boundaries that you set from the very beginning. We don't want to jump and experiment in relationship. And I will give you some proven, researched ways and methods to build that healthy, wholesome, the kind of relationship that lasts a lifetime, not just companionship, but true relationship, not just being there and seeing somebody's face for all of eternity, but the kind that um, helps you long term, right? So again, hi, Farina. Thank you for joining. If you have questions about relationship, you can type them in the chat, and I'll see how we can delve into those as well. My name is Liz. I'm an author. I wrote a book titled Before She Says I Do. But I'm not just going to be discussing how a woman, keeps or builds a healthy relationship. This is universal. Both men and women deserve a lasting, loving relationship. So let's get started. Again, like I said, once we get to the place where we're asking for premarital counseling, it's a bit too late. Like it's too late to be trying to figure out if you're the right person to get married to, if you have the right person. Once you get to premarital counseling, you've already made a decision that you're going to marry the person, right? So if you don't want to wait till the premarital counseling, what you doing this weekend? Okay, I am here. Praise God. Again, if you have any questions about relationship, as far as some things that you may have experienced, let's talk about the reoccurring situation. Maybe you get in relationship with different people and it feels experimental. It feels like you're meeting the same person in different occasions. We can talk about that. Okay. So, the first thing to do when you're looking for or wanting to build a healthy, wholesome relationship is to understand yourself, is to get to know you and to build yourself up. How do you do that? All right. Valuing yourself. So, let's talk about that. What is value? Value is how a person is perceived. Value is the perception, not just the value that you place on yourself, not just your perception of yourself, but how other people perceive you. So that's value, right? And you and I can communicate our values based on how certain things that we do. And different people perceive value in different ways. The same way someone will see you and you are the light of their world, where somebody else will see you and they don't see the value that you carry. So different strokes, they say, for different folks. But how do you now align with the right people that understand and sees your value? But the truth of the matter is that if you don't see your value, if you don't understand your value, there's more probability that other people will misinterpret who you are and what you bring to the table. So the first thing to do is to value yourself. And how do you do that? Let me tell you a story. And you probably have came across this story sometime before, but there was an old man who was dying, and he had an old watch. And this is proverbial. I might be reminding you of yourself because value is about placement. value, really. At the end of the day, value is placement. So let me explain that. There's a story of an old man. He was on his dying bed and he had this old watch. And he told his son to take the watch and go try to sell it. He says to take the watch to a store and see how much they would offer to him. So he took this watch to the store and they gave him a couple of dollars and said, okay, just this is an old watch. It's very old. It's worn out. I mean, the leather is not so strong. The gold face is a bit, it looks like it's worn out. So the store, they priced the watch and attempted to offer a very minimal amount for the watch. So the son came back to the father and said, father, they offered me a couple of bucks, let's just give it $30. They gave me $30 for this old watch. The grandfather on his dying bed says, sure, now take this watch and take it to the jewelry dealership. Go to the jewelry store and ask for them to price this watch, and come back and tell me how much they're going to give you for this watch. The son took the watch and went to the jewelry store. After the valuing person, the evaluator, took the watch and said, okay, it's a nice watch. Wow, it's antique. I really like it. Here's what I'll do for you. I will give you $500 for this old watch. It's pretty old. Yeah, I mean, there's a chip on the surface. The leather is not it's not pristine. It's not in the pristine condition. I really like it, so I'll give you $500. Deal? The son said what? The son was really excited. Mind you, he was just offered $30 at a storefront for this same watch. Now he took it to a jewelry store, and the jewelry store offered him $500. And so he was giddy with joy. He was excited. So he went home to his grandfather, who was on his dying bed, and said, Granddad, they offered $500 for your old watch. The grandfather smiled, and there's a twinkle in his eye, and said, son, I would like you to take this watch to the museum down the street, the antique museum. So the son took the watch, the old watch, to the antique museum and showed it to the evaluator to present the value of this watch and offer him some money. The evaluator looked at the watch with such surprise. The watch, he says, this is rare. This is one of a kind. I have not seen anything like this before. I really like this watch. Um, Give me just a few minutes. Let me take a look further. So he went and used his equipment and his tools and his research. And the evaluator for the watch came back and said, how about I offer you 1.5? The son said, 1.5? 1.5 what? So does that mean $1,500? The evaluator for this old watch says, no, not 1.5 thousand. I mean $1.5 million. These are just, numbers. Now, mind you, somebody offered this young man $30 for that same watch. Somebody else offered this young man $500 for that same watch. Now, the highest value for this watch, because it's rare, it's not pristine, it's antique. The antique shop offered this young man $1.5 million for the same watch. Now, this scenario paints a picture of who you are. You carry value within yourself. You carry value. And the value that you carry is, in the eyes of the right person, the right people, your value is grand. Your value is immeasurable. Your value, that that person depends on who you put yourself in front of. The people that perceive you with little value have no value for you and they will misuse you. But the people that have great value for you, or they see the value that is within you, they will not rate you inadequately, because what you offer as a person, they cannot get enough of it. So I encourage you to evaluate yourself. There are times where you place yourself in the wrong environment, or by proximity, or by birth, or by coincidence. You were you encounter certain things, certain kind of people. You were placed in certain kind of places. When it comes to value perception, your placement has nothing to do with where you were born, or where you grew up, or where circumstances place you. Your value, and we're not talking about monetary value here, we're talking about the value of a person, your evaluation of yourself, and how you are perceived by others. Some people see gold while others see used treasure or used something. But as a person, if your focus is to make sure that you place a boundary on those who evaluate you with the wrong perception, right? Your perception of yourself must not, I'm not talking about pride. There's difference between pride and making sure that you are not trivialized. That's the word I'm looking for. In the world that we live in, it's very fast paced. And as a person, hello, hello, thanks for joining, Miriam. As a person, you have to be the one to place yourself with the people that absolutely value the light that you bring into this world. Not everybody is going to see the light in you. Not everybody, you were not made for everyone, and you were not created to please everyone. The people that need your light will come to you. The people that need the value that you carry in this world, they will be drawn to you. But because in the world where we live in, maybe you're a kind person, you're a nice person. There will be people that will come to you and you think they value you, but the reason they come to you is for the sake to use you, but they will eventually present themselves. They will eventually show up for who they really are authentically. But for you, once you begin to realize that your value is not based on how other people place you, but how you place yourself, you begin to reject anything that does not correlate, that does not bring the best in you. There are people in the world that would place a crown on your head and call you a queen. And there are people in this world that want to take your crown. And how do you know this? I don't, my goal in speaking about this is not for you to have to go through trial and error to find out who values you authentically and who doesn't. My goal is to share how to quickly detect what's not good for you and what's good for you, because in life relationships can be costly if you do not select the right ones from the beginning. Again, like I mentioned prior, your value is how you communicate yourself to the right people. And sometimes you communicate yourself to people, but they still do not see that part of you. All right. So there are three different ways. There are three different ways that people perceive your value. The first way that people perceive your value is based on how you present yourself. The second way that people value you or evaluate you is based on how they perceive their world, their culture, their mindset, their relationships in the past, and all that. So their own mindset. Three ways. First, how you place yourself. Second, they evaluate you based on their experience, their tradition, their own, thoughts and patterns. And then the third way people value you, or the third in relationship, the third way is based on their own perception of themselves, how they value themselves. Certain people will not value you because they do not value themselves, while certain people will value you way higher because of low self esteem. They carry you higher. There are many different ways. But the most important one that you have control over, the first, the first path of value is something you can control. The second path to value, you cannot control it because it's based on how the person perceives their world. It's based on their tradition. Let me give you an example. Let me give you an example. The first one I already mentioned, that is based on the placement of yourself, how you rate yourself in this world, how you communicate your value and the boundaries that you set. The second path I mentioned is how the person views their world. And so, how someone views their world, they might evaluate yourself. Oh, can he cook? Can she cook? Can he clean? Can she clean? The traditional goals in their mindset, that they value you. If I hope I'm communicating the right, to where you can understand the way they communicate with their world. And then the third way is how they view themselves. The person that does not value themselves, it's hard for them to value you. Or if some there's certain categories of people that see others as unworthy compared to themselves as well. So there are many spectrums of that, number three. But the one that you can control is how you see your world and how you communicate your boundaries and communicate your values to your world. So those are the three methods. So how do you contribute to your personal value? All right. So you build your ideal self right now. You don't have to wait till tomorrow. You make a decision today to start building. You picture what you want out of life. And for young people, for those who have experienced relationship in the past, great. But the ones that have yet to experience the depth, the true relationship, I don't want you to get it wrong. And if you've experienced relationships, I want you to get the next one correctly, because we can only teach what we've experienced, right? And as someone with experience, I want my world to be a better place by the choices that each individual makes in the world that they live in. All right? So you build your ideal self right now. That includes your health. To find to find longevity in relationship, first you must know yourself and create your ideal self, your best self with the best mental energy, the best physical, best and the best spiritual. I'm a child of God, and the biggest thing you can build is a relationship with God. Once you do that, you can build your relationship with yourself, because the more you know the one who created you, the easier it is to know yourself. And that is the fact. That is the fact. So you build that personal relationship with yourself by respecting your health, respecting your mind, respecting your input. That's how you start. That's the beginning. Your health, taking care of your what you put in your mouth, taking care of how you exercise, taking care, and then your finances build your wealth. And you don't have to make announcements. It's not necessary to make announcements, because the more you focus internally, when you win the battle within in relationship with yourself by building your ideal self, you can communicate that easily. You don't even have to be loud about it. You don't have to be loud. It's just naturally communicated. I hope that makes sense. So when you build yourself, self esteem, heal yourself, heal your internal world, heal yourself, educate yourself, go and do that which you have set out to do in this world. Build yourself financially, build yourself your health, build yourself emotionally. The more you build yourself, the better you become. Have those adventures, go out, explore what you like to do in the world. Once you keep building, once you keep building that self value, once you build that relationship with you can easily build a strong relationship with the right person. And you can, once you value yourself, when the right value person comes, you will recognize them. The more you like who you have become, the better able to create a healthy bond with the right person. And anyone that does not correlate or that does not share the same value system or does not inspire you to become a better person, you immediately set the boundary. You immediately understand the boundary. You immediately begin to know that that person is not right for me, or that person, because the more you know yourself, the more you understand your value, the more you know when to set those boundaries when that value is violated. The more you know yourself and grow your personal ability to gauge what is good for you by doing what is right for yourself, respecting yourself, because you keep your promises to you first. A lot of us, we like to keep our promises to people in general. A lot of us we love to, sometimes we're not as motivated to do things for ourselves, but when somebody else asks you to do it for them, you're so eager to go do it because you just love people. Let's say, for example. But for from now on, I want you to now turn it internally. Keep your promise to yourself. That would show you, that would grow your respect for you. If you say, I am going to go out and get it done today, I will walk 2 miles today, and you put yourself and you take yourself seriously, it's easier for those people that come around you to take you seriously. And when the right person comes around that values you, you will know, because not only do you keep your promise to yourself, now you expect that the world meets you at your demand. Because if you do not meet your own demand to yourself, the world will not meet your demands. So, the first key to building a healthy relationship is a healthy you. A healthy you begins with not compromising. When you tell yourself you're going to do something for yourself, you keep your promise to yourself. Yes, I know you like to keep your promise to other people, but you must keep your promise to yourself. And so, because you keep your demand for yourself, the world begins to keep their demand for you. It's easier said than done, but it's the right thing to do. Let the love that you have in your heart grow. The Bible says, love your neighbor as yourself. But if you do not love yourself, you cannot love your neighbor. And that's a fact. I mean, you can obsess about your neighbor. You can be fascinated by your neighbor. But the truth is, to truly love someone and to truly be in a relationship that you can truly relate with, you must love yourself. Love your neighbor as yourself. So the key is value yourself so that you know how to value people and so that people can value you. So it's a self life really is a self-fulfilling prophecy. And I've come to learn that. So that's why I'm sharing it with you too. So if you see yourself experiencing multiple relationship but the same experiences. For example, you feel neglected by someone and you're like, oh my goodness, this is bad for me. I don't like this neglect. And then you go into another relationship and the same cycle seems to be repeating. Take a step back and say to yourself, what's going on? What can I do to change this whole circumstance? How can I relate to my world better so that the things that I keep experiencing stop now? How can I stop the cycle of unpleasant relationships? There is a season where you must just stop and not jump into relationship after relationship and after there's a season where you must just stop, think, take a step back, begin to favor yourself, begin to love who you are, cry those ugly tears and say no more. I want something different. I want a true friendship, relationship, communication, community, and then finding that solution by sticking to what works. The way God created relationship is ideal. Now, the traditional ways of relationship is not the ideal. The the most recent framework of relationships and the modern patterns of relationship is not the ideal. But when God created relationships and marriages, dating, when God created love, his idea is a symbiotic thing. It's not for one to carry the load of the other. It's for each to be the shoulder that each person lean on. That's the ideal. So I always come from a place of the biblical principles of relationships and marriage. The ideal, the way God made it to be, is the ideal because the other ways always favor one person to hurt the other. The traditional ways usually favors the men and neglects the women. The contemporary ways usually favors the woman and neglects the man or emasculates. But the ideal, the way the Bible says, the biblical ways of true relationship is symbiotic, love, respect, kindness, gentleness, meekness, faith, temperance. It's so romantic. The ideal relationship is bliss, is like heaven on earth when it's done right. So the goal is to get into an agreement with what is ideal, what is valuable, how to find value within self through the relationship you have with the Father, with God, and transforming your life when you see those who value the light inside of you and they draw near to you and you draw near to them. And then you can create a blissful type of relationship where it's not one sided, it's not selfish, it's not, you know, it's not, it doesn't stifle on one person, it doesn't dry you up, it builds you up, it blesses, it uplifts, it makes you feel invincible because the true kind of relationship makes you feel like you can do all things. The Bible says that two are better than one because they have a good reward for their toil. Because when you're in the right connection, you can conquer the world. You can create an empire. You can move mountains. One person has faith that can move mountains, but when the right person comes along, the mountains that you can move, that's what they call it the power duo. It's possible. And by valuing what you carry, you do not disperse it about to just the random people. You protect it. and the right people will find it. You protect it, and the right people will find it. Okay, so I'm not going to take much more of our time today. Um, finally, finally, as you walk in your path of building yourself up and valuing yourself and building that value system towards a good relationship that lasts a lifetime and that is blissful, don't forget your purpose. Your purpose matter. Your purpose, why you are on the journey that you're in, it matters a lot. And those who are in line with the journey that you're taking in this life, they will be appropriately drawn to you. So while you're looking and seeking for the right relationships, the right connection, and healing yourself, don't forget to focus on your purpose, because on the path of your purpose, that's where the right people are. The right people are in the path of you, because if you're going the way that you're supposed to be going in this world, they will draw near to you. But if you're going in the different direction, everybody is doing it, and you too, you want to do it. You're not. You might not be in the right path, but finding the relationship that is right, that is good for you, and that you are good for is on the path of purpose. You're moving in a certain direction, and so let's say, let me give you an example. Um, let's say, for example, you like to travel the world and be a part of a larger mission. Perhaps you have perceived that you were designed to care for others in the foster homes, just like you like to foster children, you love children, or you were created to go on missions. You wanted to just go on missions. You like to see the changes in people. You like to build things for people, or even build houses. In the path of building the right relationships, make sure that your main focus is the reason why God has created you for that main focus, and that you are on that path, or you're walking in that path, so that when people come around you, they already know what you are about. Because once you get into a relationship and then you're beginning to, you have not defined what you want to do. You have not defined yourself. If you don't have a definition, anyone that comes around you will define you. Basically, you will be defined by what's around you if you do not define yourself first. So that's why it's important to be found pursuing purpose every single day. Know yourself, know what you're made for. Because if you are called to do something and the person that you have chosen to walk with you is not walking in the same direction, or just doesn't have any value for it, the goal will be harder, and it'll be discouraging. There'll be a discouragement element. And that's one thing you do not want. And I know there's a glare because I'm outside and it's dark. So just ignore the glare. Yeah, ignore the glare. I hope that makes sense. Be on the path of purpose, so that whoever finds you on the path of purpose is not going to be defining you on your purpose. You're already defined. You're already defining yourself. You know who you are. You know what you're about. You know where you're going, so that they're walking with you towards that goal. And because there are tendencies that if you are not yet establishing yourself in that path, other people will come and establish you in their own. And one thing you do want, as you know, you do want that your paths merge, not people that are going to another direction. You're going to one direction and your paths merge, and one person is pulling you that way and you're pulling the other way. It's going to be a very strenuous journey, and a very distracted, because the chaos, the fighting, the it's just unreal. So in order for you to enjoy the journey of life and relationship, like I mentioned, building relationship that is just reliable and consistent, it takes work on yourself right now, evaluating your value. And finally, do not waken love until it is ready. If love, that's in the book of Songs of Solomon. Do not wake up the need or desire to love. Don't jump into relationships early. Don't. It's not. You have time to evaluate if someone is right for you. You have time. Don't be in a rush. Focus on your focus. Finish, your wealth building. I'm not saying completely finish. I'm just saying be on the path, be on the journey. Your education, your adventures. Learn yourself, learn your purpose, so that when you find the right person, you are already on that journey, and they can match the journey with you. You can match together towards the right purpose. Unity. The Bible says, can two walk together unless they are agreed? It's not possible. It's not possible to walk together unless you're in agreement with someone. It's not possible. So that's why I said boundaries. But you can't not set boundaries unless you learn yourself, unless you know who you are, unless you know who God has made you. It's difficult because you don't even know, you don't even know your boundaries. You don't even know who you are. You don't know what you're set for. So, in life and in relationship, dating, marriage, tomorrow we're going to go into more details, you know, about, um, healthy relationship, maintaining those healthy relationships. Um, we'll talk so much in depth about, what the dating scenario is, how to evaluate someone, how to evaluate if this is the right match for you. That's my plan. Again, 2 days ago, and then yesterday, I was not able to go on Facebook on YouTube Live for some reason. I'm not sure exactly why. YouTube put me in YouTube prison. I reject that. But today it worked, so here I am. The next time, let me say that the next time I'm on live, I will be going over certain things. Oh wow, Jordan, did you say how do you get a girlfriend and how do you talk to girls? That's a good question. That's a good question. But I'm not I'm not here to give such advice as to how to talk to girls. Talking to girls, you have to, have courage and also make sure that you're giving them positive something good to come to, something loving, something peaceful, something kind, something long term, not because as ladies, a lot of women, we know, you know, what's good for us and what's not. But we want a place where there's peace. As I know you do too. I know you do too. How do you talk to girls? It's that's a one-on-one conversation. It depends on who you're trying to talk to, right? So, but first, like I said, get to know yourself, value yourself, evaluate your value systems, evaluate whether or not the person that is walking with you has the same value systems as you. Are you both going on the same journey? We don't just talk to girls, we don't just talk to boys. We don't just make a decision to be with someone. We be with the right people from the very beginning so that we avoid stories that touch and sheds, less shedding of tears except for tears of joy. You get what I'm saying? All right, so that's it. Let me know throughout this conversation, once you come on and listen, if you have any questions that we can address tomorrow, or when YouTube decides to let me get online again. All right. Okay, there are bugs. It's nighttime where I am. Right now, I'm checking out. Again, for the final word, do not awaken love until it's ready, until you're ready for it. Because love takes work. Completely build your, completely be on the journey of building yourself. I won't say completely build yourself because we're always growing. but be on the journey of building yourself, your experience, your life. We'll talk more tomorrow or the next time that I am here online. It should be tomorrow. But until then, go with God and have a good night or a good morning or a good day wherever you are across the world. Take care for now. And if you're just joining me, go back. I'm going to post this video. Go back and start from the very beginning. I am sure you're going to have something of value from here. Take care for now.